Hey, Linnea.
Hey, Jason.
You're back from Mexico. How was that?
Well, underneath all of these layers, I'm really tan.
Yeah, I bet. Did you have to quarantine when you got back or anything?
Yeah, so just, I probably spent a week waiting for the incubation period and kept busy though. I was cooking for my dog and built my bike back up. Drove a tractor around.
It's time to work on some other skills. So today I was thinking we'd do some step downs.
Okay.
So let's imagine this drop. We came out of a corner and we couldn't have a lot of speed to hit this drop. What our option would be is that we would do a hip shift back to come off the drop.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if we took a cone and threw it down here and we still had this corner and had to come out of this. How would we get from here and make it to that landing now? What would we change?
We'd probably have to compress into here to get the extra distance.
Yeah, using our legs, we do equal front and rear suspension compression to thus jump to that spot down there on the trail rather than drop off the end of the obstacle. So what kind of a jump would this then become?
A step down.
Exactly. So now we went from a drop to, because we're adding compression to get distance, we've turned it into a jump, and this one would be a step down.
Gotcha. So since the jumping technique works in all scenarios, why wouldn't you just use that all the time?
Because we don't want height if we don't need it. At the end of the day, we're trying to get back on the ground and keep our tires on the ground. So also, if let's say there was a corner right after this, now we need to get back on the ground as soon as possible. So if we're compressing here, we're gonna have a hard time getting this bike on the ground. So doing our move forward and shifting back will actually drop us onto the ground sooner, so we're on the ground and able to make that turn. You see a flat takeoff and you automatically think drop.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case. Depending on it, as soon as you create compression, it's now a jump.
Oh.
Just like when you see a step down, it's not always a flat takeoff like this. Sometimes it's got a slight lip to it. And if that's the case, compression is going to happen whether you like it or not. So it's automatically a jump and it's no longer a drop.
Gotcha.
Even though it's downhill, it's now a step down jump. You get more control on this because you get to initiate the compression. Unlike with a lipped step down jump, the lip is going to create part of the compression for you. So same speed as if I was, but now I need to get there.
So if you were to just drop it, what would that look like?
Okay. See if you can compress and make it into a step down jump and see how close you can get to that yellow cone.
So when I just did that didn't feel like yours looked.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to think, okay, I'm going to make this a jump, I'm going to compress. So it's your knees are over your toes. Like we do, you're pressing really hard so that the whole front and rear suspension goes down so you can get that power comes back out and you're able to jump off the end of the end of the boards. So maybe hold on just a second longer so you're actually, think about just like a face of a jump, you want to release that compression as the back tire comes off. There you go.
Yeah, that felt a lot better.
Yeah, you waited a little longer. You trusted that you could go all the way to the end of the takeoff. Yeah. Well, how about you do this one as a drop and just do it your normal way as a drop, and then we'll see what you think of trying to make it out to that cone. And then we're going to move on and hit some real step down jumps.
Some real big kid step down jumps.
The real stuff.
Okay.
Nice, so you've done it as a drop a couple times. Now why don't you go ahead and see if you can turn it into a step down jump. And the only difference is instead of shifting back, now it's going to be about the timing to lift off of the end of it so that you're going to compress and get height. All right, Linnea, take it to the big one. There's absolutely no reason you shouldn't do that off the big one. Nice.
What's interesting is
how good that was.
Why, thank you. No, having the cone really helps because as you come and approach the lip, I feel like I have something to spot. Like I'm spotting a landing as if maybe that's where the lip of the step down, like the lip of the landing was. So the cone actually helped me a lot.
Yeah,
Gave me a target.
Yeah, that's my idea is like, so when I was doing it was trying to imagine that's where my back tire needs to land. So, you know, that's the landing.
Yeah.
And if that's the landing, I can't do this as a drop. Once
Right.
that's the landing, it's too far. So now I need compression to get the distance to get to the landing. Thus, it's become a jump. Thus, this one is a step down. Sitting on the dock of the bay. So, is this a drop or is this a step down?
Can it depend on your speed?
No,
Then it's a step down.
that is correct. Do you know why it's a step down?
The lip goes up a little bit, so it forces some compression into your bike.
Right on.
Yes.
Yes, so this slight bit, even though it's just that little bit, is going to create a little bit of compression when you come off and land onto it and go off. So it's automatically going to have forced compression. Thus, we're jumping. We're not going to shift our weight back. So we're going to compress and release off to the downslope of the step down. What's interesting is, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5, twist, Linnea. What do you think happens when this is a bigger, this is like what, 3 feet probably of a drop? So what do you get out of it being further down?
More distance.
Exactly. So while we are jumping because we have compression, we're not really gapping unless our choice is to make it to the dirt. Blinded by the light. Step up, no, step down jumps. Roamer
Where's
in
the
the,
drop?
I don't, anyway. So you want to go hit this jump now?
I do.
Let's do it.
That was really helpful because I could see how much you actually compressed off of this, even though there's barely a lip.
Yeah, it's great. It has a really good distance that you actually land on it, compress, and naturally rebound off the end. So it's a nice smooth movement.
I just thought of something. So because I haven't ridden this for a while, and I actually only have ridden it a couple times, and there is a picture of me going off of this, and at the time I thought I looked kind of cool. And then I went back and I looked at it. I'm using the drop technique here, and my hips
So you
are
look
way
cool
back.
'cause you're-
And it looks no, it looks horrible.
But it looked cool when you first saw it.
I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, wow, I just hit that thing, and I was really proud of myself. And now I go back and you get that gut feeling, like, oh,
Like,
that's
anybody
so wrong.
that knows
It's
what's
so
wrong
wrong.
with this picture.
But like my hips are way.
We're gonna
off the
have
back.
that picture for B-roll,
We're
right?
gonna find it. My hips
Dig
are
that
way
out.
back off the end, off the back end of the bike, and
Yeah.
I'm like here. Okay, well, that's part of
But
learning.
I don't know. Those things look good action-wise. I mean, Simon has said more than once. Like he had somebody that mentioned that like photos have ruined mountain bike technique.
Right.
You know, because what looks good in a photo usually is a moment in time, not the right place to be always.
I don't know that the photo even looks that good. I have so
So
many.
in the comments, let us know what you guys think of the photo of her improper technique.
Hey, but there is no shame in learning.
Absolutely.
We can't shame people for
We're
learning.
laughing because it's fun, it's progression, it's how it goes. I mean, what's really cool about that though is you go back and think about when you jumped it back then and then when you jump it today and how much more control you have today, especially when it comes to you hitting the landing and there's a berm right after this that you go into. So think about how this correct way of doing it is going to give you so much more control as you continue down the trail. Oh, I was seeing how many tricks I could do at once. Nice.
Oh my God, it's so smooth.
Yeah. I would even go so far as to say you could probably slow down, compress a little more, and boost it a little bit.
More boost.
Boost. That was really great. I mean, you had a good compression off of the lip, a super smooth landing that carried really good speed, and you made it to the transition that's going to give you the most acceleration on the landing, which is the dirt rather than landing up on the wood. So that was like
Sweet.
absolutely how you want to do it.
Yeah, this felt great.
You did a little turn bar.
It was a little.
So you want to go check out Semper now? I know there's a couple step downs on that.
If you're enjoying these lessons, we have a full online school at fluidrideonline.com.
All right, so here we are at Semper on the step down that I think you haven't done this one yet, right?
No, I've never done this.
So you're looking at this. What's your thoughts on it?
I find this intimidating because of the landing, because there's kind of an accentuated peak that you could punch your front tire into. So that's what worries me about this one.
Okay. So you've got a couple different line choices. What's your initial line choice that you think you'd want to go for and why?
Well, I like the smaller one, and here's the other reason I like the smaller one is that to me it looks more sendy, and I'm really comfortable on sendier jumps, and I'm not that comfortable on steep face jumps.
Okay.
If that makes sense, like the compression with a steep face jump.
So
is a
this
little
you
harder
like
for
because
me.
you create more of the compression.
Yeah.
This creates the compression for you.
I tend to squash stuff like that because I get nervous.
Okay. So first thing I would say is this is a step down, and we think about the arc, because the one thing I noticed is that's a pretty steep landing, unlike some of the other stuff we've looked at. So if I have a lip like this and I have a landing like this,
Yeah.
how is my arc? It's not as fluid of an arc, and especially if I'm having to force the compression, I'm now sending myself higher, and then I have to really drop into that arc, right?
Okay.
Whereas if we have the taller side and look at it that way, it's more of this. So it's going to send you, you're going to be able to go at a slower speed and send yourself in more of a natural arc to get to the downhill, because you're going to need that arc to get the nose down naturally. So you're going to have a smoother motion, I think, on this, because the lip and the landing are more equalized. So they're like this rather than like this. This is a very, very controlled jump. It's very floaty.
Doesn't this seem really sketchy? Like, look at this.
To me, it doesn't, because I'm taking away sticks and dirt and holes, and I'm looking at two things: the lip, the landing, the distance, and the shape. Come here and look and stand here, and you'll see that you can actually see the landing by the time you're here and kind of get a feel for how far out it is, because it is blind, so you're going to have to pre-know and remember where it's at. So it's a good thing to come up, take a look at it, and check it out. Kind of notice the size of the compression. This jump is not going to need very much speed. As long as you press into this lip, you're going to float and have a nice arc right over it. So I know this is a new jump for you. How about I do it a couple times, let you kind of get a look at it and see what my speed looks like and kind of my technique.
You make it look easy. It was, honestly, it was a really soft landing when you
Yeah,
landed.
so and you saw, like, I wasn't forcing the jump. I was just using my natural compression with the proper speed. I'll go ahead and do the other side so you can see, and what I want you to notice is I have to actually put more effort into jumping that far side.
I mean, I definitely see your point.
Well, let's roll into the other side and see what that looks like.
Okay.
So try to tuck in right behind me and feel my speed.
It's awkward stopping on the lip.
All right, so you're gonna do it. So here's what I'll say is, I think the most important thing for you to think about now is, you know the speed, you know the jump, you know the lip. I want all your focus to be on keeping your knees over your toes and pressing into that jump.
Oh my God! I did it! I was so nervous up there.
Ha!
My poor little heart. This is why Jason is such a good coach, because those words gave me the confidence to hit it, actually.
Woo!
Yes.
So you barely tagged it that time.
Oh, good heavens.
Do you want to do it one more time?
Sure.
I know you can clear it. I mean,
Sure.
that one, you like literally your back tire was like right here. Like a little more speed or a little, you pressed really good. Did you feel the difference of how,
yeah.
and it actually made it more comfortable,
It
not
felt
less?
So much, yeah, smoother on the landing.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah!
Yes!
Somebody just conquered the step down on Semper.
I was so nervous about this for a long time.
I am so stoked for you right now. So you know what that means? We're really close to you jumping this whole trail now. So let's go run and look at one more thing on this. There's one more step down that actually has a flat takeoff that I want to take a peek at, and then I think we're gonna call it for today.
Cool.
All right, let's go do that. Anytime you have a wood one that's kind of got a flat takeoff, is first thing you want to do is look at, is this a drop? And if it's a drop, that's the technique. Now, if you realize you need distance to get to it, it becomes a jump, and that automatically means we're going to use compression off of the lip. So with these flat drops, it's really important to start understanding and practicing that compression to get the timing just right, because it's all on you. So, you know, really focused on the timing to really come off right at the end of the wood. And then if we have a lip, like we did over on HLC and stuff, or on here on Sempra, we know that it's really about driving those knees forward. And we go back to those classic things we learned for all kinds of jumping. Because the arc is there, we're just changing where the arc goes in the air and when it's on the ground.
Right. Yeah, what you said about driving your knees forward really helped me stay centered over the bike instead of reverting to my old habit.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost always say when you're coming into a jump that you haven't jumped before, literally the last thing I want to think about is reminding myself, I've decided I'm going to jump this and I'm going to commit to it, and that means I'm going to drive my knees forward, I'm going to press into my pedals, and it's going to be to compress front and rear suspension, be it off of a flat drop or off of a lip. And the reason behind that is that focuses me on doing what's probably the worst thing you can do, which is getting back on your bike or bringing your knees behind your toes last second, because that's what creates that buck. And on a step down, that gets even more exaggerated because it's further to the landing.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I think people will get bucked a little bit and then think that they need to move back more because they're getting bucked. And it's like that vicious cycle of moving back when you should be moving forward.
yeah, so my cycle, especially on a step down, is revert back to the last thing you remind yourself before you go for the jump is, I'm gonna compress by pressing down and forward and getting all of that weight into my cranks and pressing and having my knees push down over my toes. That will keep you forward on the bike and in the proper position. And most importantly, will have your front and rear suspension rebounding equally.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this helped a lot, starting small, starting on the drops, making sure the compression was there. Turning a drop into a step down really
Yeah.
helped because it feels like a safe place to practice. And then working our way up to here, I did not think I'd be riding that today, and we did it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm stoked for you. I mean, it was awesome. I'm so stoked to see you do it. And yeah, like we talked this morning about today's lesson, and I mean, I came in with the attitude of we'll see where we end up, and we ended up crushing it. You'll ride this trail top to bottom, and you'll probably have some style when you do it.
Some style.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks so much. This is a great day.
Good job today.